everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. And I'm coming at ya today with basically a continuation of the things we talked about. Having a backup plan, having a preparation plan when you would like to bring a Ukrainian lady here, Russian, any other nationality actually, doesn't matter, any international marriage, there are some things that you need to consider and as a backup plan. And it's not just having your finance in order, and it's not just having your finance in order. It's not just having that assistance available, but it's also, guys, giving her the gift of self-discovery, giving her the gift of learning new skills. Sometimes when you are financially stable, it can actually work against you in terms of making the choice for her. And let's say she actually would like to explore and learn something and become somebody here in US, which is a tremendous effort, but it's more comfortable for you if she just stay home. So you might even think, I don't want to get her learn her how I don't want her to learn how to drive. I don't want her to have her own car, finish English classes. I don't want her to just do things. So you kind of feel safe, especially if you have a beautiful young woman. You, in some ways, afraid that maybe she will, go somewhere or leave you or whatever. And you are trying to find a place. And you're just trying to figure out, what is the best thing to do. And sometimes out of selfishness, one of the worst things you can do, guys, is to not let your woman get her independence with driving. Driving is essential in the most states of US, in the most cities of US. You have to. She actually can go to women, sort of like a women's shelter. They actually consider, if you do not teach your foreign wife how to drive and get her a car, it's abuse, because she cannot get around. I'm just telling you. So if you just feel this, if you just feel that you would like to have her all for yourself, and if you just feel that, oh my gosh, this is not necessary, I have savings, I'm doing really well, I'm wealthy, I just want her basically to be my maid. That's a terrible thing to do to a good woman. It's a terrible thing to do to her personality. Terrible thing to do in something you should never consider doing, because if something happens and you suddenly pass away, once again, I'm following up the backup plan. When most of guys who follow me are middle age, and things can happen at any age. Things can happen at any age. So if this happens and she doesn't know how to drive, she doesn't know how to put fuel in her car, she doesn't know anything about banking, about finance, she didn't get any skills that she can use in US, you really setting up her for a huge heartbreak and a terrible situation to go through. I was talking to one of my friends, and she works with a high-level people in Ukraine. She's a advisor and consultant and a researcher. She wrote several novels. She's a very bright person, and she works with some women who are wives of a very wealthy man. And she told me, Veronica, one of the things I want to tell you, some of these women lost their identity completely. At first, they were excited. They got the cars, whatever. They got a lot of stuff. But what happened is they lost their identities. They they lost their purpose in life because they were so, at first it was fun once again to have money for once and spend them and have fun and go vacations and go spa places and go, but then it gets old, like you have nothing to do. So you don't have a purpose, so it is your responsibility to make sure that the person is finding their place. I mean, it's your responsibility to take care of the person, not only in a ways of having food in the refrigerator, but um, connect with their soul. And even if they're very feminine and they would like to mostly stay home, but it's nice. There are two things. It's nice to have a backup plan if something happens to you. This lady, I actually know somebody who didn't know how to put fuel in their car, didn't learn English well, never had a driver's license, and then their husband passed away also suddenly. Can you imagine what kind of horrific stress the person would go through? So you have to do that, number one. And number two is, um, we all just had Christmas and we were all worrying about the gifts. And I strongly believe that the most incredible gift you can give to a person is to help them to discover their own gift. That's something you can do, and that is absolutely incredible. A lot of people have talents and gifts and callings, and yet they are not exploring them because they're not sure whether it's good enough, it's gonna all that stuff that when we take, but when we talking ourselves out of things. But America is still the country of possibility, although now the whole world becoming the country of possibilities because of internet. You can be anywhere in the world and have your video blog and have your services. You can create products and sell them all over the world. That's something I think Ukrainian people yet to be figuring out in Ukraine, because regardless what economy is in Ukraine, if you sell a product all over the world, it doesn't matter for you. But that's another topic. So once again, we're talking about ladies here, and how important it is to not be selfish. Because if you're gonna be selfish, if you're gonna be just thinking about you, what convenient for you, you have to remember that the person you bring with you is not just a puppy. It's not a toy, it's not a doll, it's a human being. And it's wonderful when you have stable finance, but you need to also think about the skills, the backup plan, and helping the person to find themselves. It's really nice to be around a person that is happy, that is doing what they want to do. So maybe if you are on the wealthier side, and it's nothing wrong with that, it's great, but she can have some hobby that makes her feel good. Maybe she would go and volunteer. I know some people that have million. I know somebody that is very wealthy, and he works at the Home Depot part-time just because he's retired, and he doesn't want to becomes this person without getting out there and helping people. So doesn't have to do the work, doesn't have to do Home Depot, but gets out there to stay in shape. One time I met a guy who was in his, I think he was 80 years old, but he did not look a day over being 60 or maybe 57 or something like that. I could not believe that he was 80. He told me he dyes his hair dark, but his secret of life was also he was working every single day and he enjoyed working. It gave him, the power. So my point is, don't take the power from the woman when she wants to explore her talents. Don't get jealous. If all of a sudden she starts to be successful, in some cases maybe more successful than you, maybe she is younger and she learned fast, and be excited for her. Be excited for her and help her discover herself. Another thing is, when you come to United States, a lot of professions here are more appreciated than in Ukraine. For example, in Ukraine, being a nurse in a state place, in a state, in a place run by a state is not that great. It's actually, it's very low sort of, low profession to work for, the state. If you're a nurse, it's a bit better if you work for a private company. But still, in US, being a nurse is a great profession, for, especially if you compare somebody who made maybe $300 if they are lucky in Ukraine, doing things on the side, being a high level nurse and coming to United States and learning a bit and updating their profile and maybe taking some classes, whatever it is. But our nurses know how to do everything. Here you have sort of narrow specialist. In Ukraine you have to know everything, so often they are great specialists, and you can really see the person thriving because they never knew that you can make 40, 60, 80, 90,000, $100,000 or whatever a year. This kind of money do not exist in Ukraine if you're working for yourself. They could exist sort of exist if maybe you are you are owner of some big company. The inflation, and even without inflation, people, it's a different economy. So that can just boost somebody's self-esteem and helps them to find purpose in life. You can take them, you can let them explore, but it doesn't matter to what level people will take it, to what level this your lady, your future wife will take the opportunity. You have to be willing. You cannot be selfish. Last year I met somebody, not directly, but somebody, in the group, and we didn't really have a conversation, but that person was married and their wife is like their maid. So basically your wife is your maid. You are doing things, she's doing things for you, she's there to serve you, but she has no identity, she doesn't have driver's license, she doesn't know how to drive, she has nothing. So I just think it's not fair. We are not in a slavery age. And another thing, if you have children, you don't want your children to see to be raised by the woman that is not self efficient. I don't know how to say it. This is not confidence, it's not exploring the world. Because trust me, you want to have a woman that raise your children, that is a thriving woman, that is a happy woman. Even if she's more feminine, she loves being home with kids, she needs to have, most 99% of people need to have some other avenues. They need to feel appreciated, and they need to be confident, because children mirror us. I can tell you can tell your child whatever you want, but if you are not representing that, if you are not living that, it makes no difference. It has no meaning. So guys, that is the message that I would like to share with you. I don't have that much time today. I might come up later tonight or tomorrow. I have a New Year message for you. And if you have any questions and comments, please comment under the video. By the way, I just want to announce I am taking some time off, guys. I will be available after January the 4th. So you still can write me emails, consultveronica@gmail.com, but I am not available for other services, for my consultations. I did let everybody know. So just so you understand why I am not on my regular schedule. Sometimes you have to take time off. I'm doing some beautiful things. I'm going to share with you later about that. John, Jeff, and all the other guys, Jason, great to see you, John, Brian, thank you so much for coming on. I will look at your comments when the video is published and follow up. I just really gotta go. Thank you so much for being with me, and please remember that helping the person you love will help you. Thank you.